All right. Are there any questions? I'm gonna pull up that chat. Any questions about what y'all just worked on or anything today? What did we get done this time?
I've had several questions and written them down as we went, but then we moved on to something else and now I'd have to go back to find them.
Let's say that again. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, I said, as we've gone through things, I've written down a couple questions, but then we move on to something else. And so now I'd have to go back and look at my notes to see what they are.
We'll find them because after this next co-working, we'll get back together and sort of wrap it up. So
Okay,
definitely
all
find the
right.
questions that y'all have. Any other questions or what y'all get done this time? Or you can put some in the chat if you want. Did we do anything, Janie?
Yes, I did some keyword search on Pinterest and then took that information into Canva and created my image for my pin for my lead magnet that I still have to create, but at least I got the basics done there.
Okay. Oh, yeah, but your lead magnet's already made. You just got to pull it out of your course.
Right. It's basically made. I just have to format it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? What y'all get done? Anything?
I I'm still working on adding opt-ins to my homepage and stuff. I added it into the sidebar and I'm trying to figure out how to add the little banner like what you had in the footer. And so I'm
Did
still
you
behind, but
did you get that plug-in?
I actually have a header footer plugin already, but it only uses HTML code, and so I'm trying to figure out how to write that code.
Oh, well, let's do this. Let me go find mine real quickly because mine uses HTML code too. Where am I? Um, tab, header, footer, where are you?
I actually asked ChatGPT to write me the code and
Yeah,
and asked it what other information it needed from me. And so
yeah,
it said to get the image file information from my media library, and so that's where I'm
yes.
at the moment. So,
Well, I'm gonna put this in the chat. This is the code I use, and basically it's the code you need for when you want to make an image clickable. So this would work with any image that you want to click. And if you look there, the first link is the where it's going to go, like where
right.
the URL. The
Mhm.
second link is the image link. So, and then alt, I just change that each time. But same with mine's the same as far as the header footer. I just copy and paste what I had before, and then I go in and make those three changes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
URL. Yeah.
I'll copy that.
Michelle, what'd you get done?
Okay, I went back and I'm trying to figure out actually which freebie I want to put a tripwire to a paid product because I've got a lot of missing parts. I've got all of them, but none of them really align really well. So I'm trying to figure out which one's the one that I can do with the least amount of work to get the whole flow. So that's what I
Well,
was doing.
I would encourage you to not worry about the tripwire right now. I would get a lead magnet to the paid product and then deal with the trip, just like I
Well,
told Janie and Jen.
okay, so
Lead magnet
that's
to
still where
paid.
I'm a little confused then. So, like, let's say my freebie is must do high school checklist. Okay, things that they should do every year. Okay, now that can link directly to my membership where
Mhm.
things that they need to do, that I'll help them with. So, is the tripwire something like, which would be like the must would be a reading guide because the reading guide that is something that they should be doing every year. Is that the tripwire then that I would stick in the middle?
You can. Two things. One, were you able to go to ChatGPT and say, give me 5 tripwire ideas, or you already have this one? Tell me, ChatGPT, how I can connect this freebie to this tripwire. Give me the way what is the connection between these two? And then let it tell you and use that information.
That's what I was doing. That was part of what I was
Okay.
doing during the break.
Good. That's awesome. Okay. So let me turn just a second. I had a surprise visit from my son and daughter-in-law on their way out of town while y'all were gone. We all showed up at the right time because we're on a break. So they're like, what are you talking about? I said, oh, I'm teaching class. Oh, no wonder you're in a pretty top today. I'm like, yes, it's Saturday. I normally don't wear these kind of clothes, but okay. All right. So do you get this question very much? How many subscribers do you have? It's a question that I hear all the time and sometimes can stress business owners out. But the real truth is your list is not a number. And too often we're worried about how many we have. If you have the right subscribers on your list, then you can work with them. You build that know, like, and trust factor because they're the ones that are interested in getting you to help them. Every person on your list is a real person, not a number. And we said this earlier, you're writing to one person and you want to make sure you have a good vision of what that is. They believe, they signed up, they think you can help them. So your goal isn't, I mean, yes, we want to grow our list, but our goal isn't just about getting more subscribers. It's about building relationships. I was reading a story, I don't know, yesterday or today, about a guy. Now he had about 7,000 people on his list. In his niche, that's not a big list, but to me, that's still a really good sized list. And he made like in a year, $700,000 or $800,000 from just that list. I also have heard a story from Amy Porterfield. One of her students had a list of about 200 or 300 people. And the first time he launched his course, I want to say it was in photography. I mean, he made at least 5 figures. I don't remember the number. So just you're not always looking for a huge list. We do want to keep adding new people. That's why you're here today. You want to be adding new people. But you want to be building relationships. So it's sort of a twofold thing. We just need to remember that the way we make money is by building relationships. We get them on the list, but it's important that we continue to build relationships. And so we want to talk to those people as if they're people and not just selling them something, not just treating them like a business corporation newsletter type thing. Sometimes it's hard because we start chasing the vanity metrics. Yes. Oh, I got this many people because people want to know how many are on your list. Will I collaborate with you? That isn't always the best way to look at it. We need to look at value. What kind of value are you offering them? So let's see what I have here. So when you create your amazing freebie or the one you already have, someone signs up and then it's crickets, no sale. But sometimes that's normal because the money is in the follow-up. They may not spend money immediately, but then you follow up on a regular basis, especially with the weekly or bi-weekly content. I know I sound like a broken record, but the content you're putting out there on the web, a blog post, a podcast, video channel, whatever, that is what builds trust. All right. And so you've got to continue to follow up with them. It's not, I mean, we want the first click to be a sale, but it isn't always like that. Trust is built over time. So think about this. What would shift if you started seeing your list as a conversation, not a transaction? It's transformation, not a transaction. You've got to keep transformation at the forefront of your mind. What if your next email wasn't just about pitching, but about building trust? And again, the easiest way I know to build trust is to produce some sort of weekly or bi-weekly content because it's an easy send to your email list. And they're like, I mean, I do have people on my list, especially my homeschool, they say, I open up every one of your emails. I'm like, really? but they do. I had someone in one of my mastermind groups a week or so ago. She's like, Carrie, your podcast. I listen to your podcast all the time. And I was just like, really? And this is someone who has a successful business. She's just trying to get it to the next level. So people buy when they trust you, and they trust you when they hear from you consistently, authentically, and generously. So stop obsessing over numbers and start nurturing your relationships. Even though I know this is all about list building, it's a balance between getting new people in and then building that relationship. This one is a fun one. Sort of saved one of my favorite things till the very last time. We're going to start out with webinars. I call them master classes because they sort of sound a little better. We're going to talk about networking and then collaborating, which all of this, the whole section here is working with other people and not trying to do everything on your own. You don't have to grow your list all by yourself. You can borrow other people's audiences. So let's start with webinars. I believe they still work. I think video is one of the fastest ways to build that know, like, and trust factor. They can position you as the expert, but what you really are is a guide. You're not just a teacher. Yes, you may have a course or a product that you're teaching them, or you've got it all laid out in a product. One of my favorite books is Story Brand by Donald Miller. And if you haven't ever read it, you need to read it and go through the exercises, because it will take it off of who you are and put it on your customers, your audience, your followers. You are not the hero, you are the guide in their journey. And when you have webinars, you want to, well, all of this is about StoryBrand, but you are guiding them and giving them good information that will give them transformation. You've got to keep going back to that. So I believe that events drive sales. That can be a webinar. That can be a live in-person conference. It can be an online summit, whatever. Events drive sales. You just have to know the right strategy. Whether if you're a speaker at an event, there really is a strategy to get sales from that event. And so we need to talk about that. But a webinar is an event and people will come to it, and then you can pitch your thing at the end, but you've got to give good content. So let's talk about this. You're going to collect emails during registration I use just my own landing pages. And I'm going to show that in just a second. That is like a lead magnet. Basically, a webinar is a bigger lead magnet. It's going to take a little bit more because there's a little more details. I personally use Zoom as my platform. I do pay for it. It's about $200 or something a year, maybe a little less. But I have unlimited meetings. The only thing I'm limited on are recordings. So I have to constantly make sure I've downloaded the recordings and then throw the rest of them in the trash. And so really that's it. I don't use their webinar feature. I just use their meetings feature. Some of the things I really like about Zoom are you can download it. You're going to download, you can get a video, you can also get an audio, you can get a copy of the chat that you have. So I can get my chat and I can see the people that interacted with me on my webinar, and then I can get scrappy and go send them DMs or emails or a Loom video or whatever to try to convert them over to buying whatever it is. But it's all based personalized on what they wrote in the chat. The other things I like about it is you can get an unedited transcript. You get a summary of whatever it is you said, next steps, and then they have these things called smart chapters. So it sort of chunks out your webinar into little sections. The only thing I really use out of that is the unedited transcript. I would love to figure out how to use all the rest of it, but that's a lot of stuff. I always get Ross or me to download all those pieces because I want to just at least have them, because I believe I could take my webinar and turn them into 5, 6, or 7 blog posts, or I could turn them into podcast episodes that could be my pre-launch the next time I do the webinar. So let's say I do a webinar now, and then I'm going to do it again in 6 months or 4 months or whatever. I can take that transcript and ask ChatGPT to give me 5 podcasts. And so the 5 weeks leading up to the webinar, That would be what I would need. Or I can say, give me 5 blog posts, but it's all based on what my words were. It's not like going online or whatever. That's sort of all a sidetrack. You need a strong call to action in your webinar. So let's take a look at a webinar sign up page. This is not it. Oh, wait, yeah, I guess it is it. Here is my one that I did in May. This was my 4 steps to raising Christian leaders. And you need a good, stop your overwhelm, discover the easiest and most effective way to homeschool. I've got my little pin here so we can pin this image. And then this is to get them to start relating. How busy moms can raise confident leaders in less time. It's not what you're thinking. And it's not one of my objections is people are like, I don't have time to add one more thing to my table, to my schedule. And so I immediately say, well, that's not what this is going to do. It's a lifestyle basically. But there is my sign up link right here. It tells them when it is. Sometimes I offer 2 webinars. So when they click on this, in the past, I did have 2 on the 20th and 21st. So when I open it up, they can choose the 20th or the 21st. Anyway, and then it goes down and here's all the benefit, the copywriting. Then it tells them, here's what the name of it is, free class for moms, another image that I can use that has free on it. And then here's what you'll discover. And then who should attend. And I've got 4 different kinds of people. And then here's a little bit about me. You'll notice I put myself below all this other stuff. I want them to identify and relate to whatever I am talking about. And even in this, it's going to be like, I want to help you. And then here's a little bit more, and then that's the end. So that's a quick little demonstration. Ideas that you want to include on this type of lead magnet are, well, one, you want to put that button at the top. You notice the button was several times on the page. The other thing is, imagine if blah, blah, blah. Imagine if your life was like this, whatever. Show them the transformation you offer, not just the features. And you want to tell stories so they can relate to this. The benefits of attending your masterclass. And then towards the end, I was like, and here's what you'll get. And it tells the features of what we'll cover. Sprinkle sign-up buttons throughout. Now, a good webinar has a hot topic of some sort. It's not just a printable, it's not just a video or an audio, but it is going to be a hot topic and something that will offer them a quick win. In fact, when I teach about how to do a webinar, one of the first things I say is, you know, get started, but the first thing you want to talk about before you go into your 4 steps is some sort of quick win, like something that will take you 2 or 3 minutes to explain, and your people are already going, oh my goodness, that is awesome. Quick, I'll tell you what mine is on this particular class. It is character building. Character building is one of the 4 steps. And so I talk to them about, you know, the struggle of building character in their kids. And then I show them a quick process and say, I want you to put a Post-it note for each one of your kids, put their name on it. Tell me the character that you want to build, and a Bible verse. And extra credit if you write, if they do it, here's what happens. If they don't do it, here's what happens. Anyway, I explain it a little bit better than that. But it takes me about 3 minutes to explain. And then okay, who's going to take the Post-it party or Post-it whatever challenge? Who's going to character building Post-it party or whatever? And they're all like, yeah. And then all of a sudden they're like, I can do this. I don't even have to pay anything. She's already given me something that I can actually do. That's really important that they see that you are in it for them and you're trying to help them. And that's an easy way to set your webinar apart from others. You're not just teaching them, but you're getting them on board. Another thing with webinars is getting them to say yes and agreeing to whatever. Oh, yes, that's me. And depends on the group, but a lot of times you've got someone in there that's typing. Another thing I do is I do give away a freebie to about 2 or 3 people, and the only way they can win the freebie is leaving comments in the chat. And that gets them, a lot of people, they'll be putting a lot of comments in there just because they want to win. And it's a digital something. It's not like I'm, you know. I've been on some where they give you a $25 gift card. That's not me. So, so basically you're going to introduce it, you're going to give your information, and then you need to do a good sales pitch of some sort. That's what it's all about. Simple slides. I do use slides. I actually don't leave myself on when the slides because I'm sort of dependent on my notes, even though like 4 steps. I've been given that thing for 3 or 4 years, but there are certain things that I will actually read. I sprinkle testimonials throughout. Oh, goodness. Oh, I swallowed the wrong way. Okay. I sprinkle testimonials throughout my presentation. I send reminders the day before and the day of. It'll come just a second. I tend to send at least 3 reminders, one in the morning, one an hour ahead of time, and one 15 minutes ahead of time. I do offer a replay sometimes. Sorry. Sometimes I offer the replay and let people know. Sometimes I want them on the live. The only way they can win the prize is on the live. The other thing I will offer is a live bonus. And this is advanced, so don't try doing this. But if you show up for the live, I'll give you a link. Mine for this one is teaching games, teaching easy to use games, teaching with easy to use games, something about using games in your homeschool. And so about halfway through there, I will put a link in the chat. And I don't really talk about it. I just put the link in there so that they can download it. But you have to be on the live to be able to get that because your conversions are better with people that are on the live. So the thing that can explode webinars is the next section, which is partnering, networking, working with a JV partner, joint venture partner. And what you can do is once you get a webinar that converts well, then you can go to other people in your niche and say, hey, how about we partner together and I give this to you? I would give them more commission for whatever it is that you're offering. Like I give 40% commission on my course. If I partner with someone and I give it to their list, not my list, so I'm borrowing from their list, then I may give them 50% commission. And the thing is, it's all digital. Everyone's like, I want to give. I mean, I will say this. Homeschool affiliates are sort of chinchy, like 20%, 30%. Amy Porterfield's like standard is 50%. And she gives me 50% on a $2,000 product. But she also knows she wouldn't get those people if I weren't working with them. And so I think I encourage people to be generous with their partnerships. So that is one way you can borrow. Let's talk about some other things because I think this is one of the easiest ways to grow your list with new people. And that is partnership, networking. I used to be part of some local networking groups and it was for a different business, but networking is networking. It is not net sitting. It is not net eating. It takes work. People think you just go to a networking event and as long as you're there, you'll go away with people's names and new sales. And it's not. You have to actually be concerned about the other person, not just me. And they think seriously, you go and you just sit down and you eat your meal and somehow miraculously you'll have these partnerships that you can work together. It takes work. It takes follow-up. And I think you can do the same thing with an online business as well. It can be scary. You know, I didn't really like always going to networking events because I was like, oh gosh, people don't even know. I got to meet them for the first time. And it's the same way online. How do I reach out to them? In your notebook, there are some lists for you to start making, list of people that you potentially want to reach out to. Again, it takes work. You have to think beyond your own audience. Some of the ways that I have networked with other people, one are my events, you know, because the 2 events, I've got speakers, and affiliates that promote that, but email list swaps. So I may email for you and you email for me. A lot of times that's just a one email. The best way, like for a webinar, you would want them to be all on board and promote that webinar like at least 3 times so that they're like, this is the best thing. I mean, they have to be sold on the fact that whatever you're selling will actually be for their group. But anyway, you can do some list swaps like that. And maybe I give a webinar for you this month and you give one to my group next month. I've done those and it's been a while. And as I was preparing, I was like, I need to get back to that because that was a really good way to get new people and buyers. You know, obviously you need to pick the right partners. So being a guest expert on a podcast or a guest on a blog. I know I've done some blogging for other people as well. One of my goals between now and Christmas is to start being a guest on a whole bunch of other people's podcasts or to be in their summits as well. So how do we find the right people, the ideal people? People that are complementary but not competing. Like, I don't know that Jen is going to want to go, oh, you do homeschool planners too, so let's do something. It may work. I always believe there's plenty of people out there. But you may want to do something that's a little more complementary. Maybe someone that isn't exactly doing planners, but maybe they're, I don't know, organizing your room or whatever. But you get someone that's sort of close to it, but it's not exactly competition. You look for people that are coaches in your niche, bloggers in your niche, podcasters, course creators that aren't teaching the exact details, but they're similar in the same niche. When you reach out to them, you need to personalize your message. You need to know who their audience is. If I were going to go, and when I do go want to be a guest on a podcast, I better listen to 2 or 3 of their podcasts and find out what, and refer to whatever that podcast is and how I think, my message might be able to help their group. The other thing is maybe doing a free training in their Facebook group. I will say the thing about podcasts is if you're putting out a podcast every week, you're constantly needing content. And so I will tell you, interviewing someone is a lot easier than, because I mean, I got it down and I don't know, it's just easier for me sometimes. Plus, I can like book 5 or 10 of them at one time, and then I can spread them out for the rest of the year. So when someone offers, I've been getting offers for interviews, and I've taken a few of them up, like to be on my podcast. And so that's just a good thing. Say you'll take care of all the tech work, give them personalized swipe copy and images. In other words, you're going to have to do the work. Don't expect them to personalize it. If you're going to do something back to school and you want their story, then say, hey, can you shoot me a quick little voicemail in Facebook and tell me what your favorite back to school story is? And then take that and put it in the email that you give them. You want to personalize it. Use ChatGPT to personalize it as well. I will tell you, for this VIP day, I did something a little different. I would come up with my general email to everyone. And then I had 3 groups that were specific that I was not going to send it to. I had the digital, what was that thing? Digital Products That Sell Summit that I was in at the beginning of the month. And I sent them one basically on lead magnets and landing pages and how this would help them. BC Stack had that group of people, and then my Homeschool Blogger Network. Now, hopefully y'all didn't get any of those once you signed up, but I know I had at least 1 or 2 of my people that signed up came specifically from Homeschool Blogger Network. They were not in my Family eBiz group. So I do think personalizing it helps as well. And I just took the original email and I told ChatGPT about each one of those groups. And then it just took the email and transferred it for me. And then I had to segment it. I had a segment for each one of them. So all I did was send it to a different group of people. And eventually it ended up going to everyone I wanted to send. Track your outreach. Use a spreadsheet to record the people that you're going to reach out to, the pitches, the responses. Follow up professionally, but don't just chase forever. So you've got to follow up because a lot of people send it out and then they don't do any follow-up and then they don't get any partnerships. So what I would encourage you to do is to brainstorm maybe 5 ideal partners and then plan to pitch one of them in the next week or 2. You can use your lead magnet or whatever it is you want to do to partner, but you are borrowing someone else's audience. Then the last one that goes along with networking is contest and giveaway. And I know some of y'all have been in giveaways before. You can host it yourself and then just use your favorite social platform, offer a prize that appeals to your audience, not just anyone. And so like I'm in one that's a back to school one that's coming up in a couple weeks. And the way it works is everyone pitches in $25. And if you want the email list, you pitch in $10 more and they give away gift cards. And so I think she's giving away 3, I don't know, $100, $200 gift cards. And the way we do it is everyone writes a blog post and you all have to have it up on the certain day. And then the giveaway has one way that they can contact you. For me, it's to go sign up for my Facebook group or my YouTube channel, depending on what it is. And then we have to share everyone else's sometime during that week during the giveaway. So I just go in and pin all the other blog posts that are there. So that's one way you could host it. Promote the giveaway or the contest more than one time, build excitement and interact during the contest. You can do it, like I said, with the blog series. And join others, get other people to come with you and you can track the record. Now, I've mentioned Amy Porterfield a few times, and about a year ago, she said they were talking about what do we collaborate with free bundles? And she was like, they're really not the right people because they're always looking for a freebie. And I, for the most part, stay away from them. But I was doing some research. One of my mastermind members that have been with me for almost 2 years came from a free bundle. That's how she found me. So there's one thing, and that's like recurring income. Another one that signed up for this VIP day that I really wasn't sure who she was, and I looked her up, and she came from a free bundle in April. She just joined my list in April and then signed up. So I wouldn't say that's a hard and fast rule. I would just be very careful about the free bundle and what your purpose is with it. Just be sure that you're getting some people that would actually be buyers as well. The irony is some of the paid bundles that I've been a participant in have not really produced as many buyers. So you just need to pay attention to which bundles and where the people are coming from and what they, some of these bundles I've been in for 5 or 6 years. So just watch what's going on. So the biggest thing is you don't need to grow your list alone. Borrow audiences with a smart joint venture strategy. I think webinars are powerful trust builders and list builders, and you can go through it and just make some strategic collaborations that can really be effective, even sometimes better than ad campaigns. So what I would challenge you to do during this co-working time is pick one. Do you want to do a webinar? Do you want to look for JV partners, or do you want to develop a giveaway contest idea? And then write a draft of an email that you can go to ChatGPT, whatever. Write a draft of the email pitch that you're going to do. If you're going to do a webinar, then you first try it out yourself. And I will say it's a lot more involved, but I would encourage you to just make a list of people and make a longer list than you plan to contact. So, and there's a place in the notebook for all of this information. Any questions before we work?
I have a question about a different idea you didn't mention. I think you do this every November, the thankfulness.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good one.
So where you get other people to write blog posts on your website. I've thought about doing that, but I'm hesitant because a lot of times they're like, well, I have 20,000 subscribers and stuff like that. And a lot of people aren't probably going to want to be on my 3,000 subscriber list. So Is that something I should try, consider? Is it out of the range for possibilities? Like, what do you think? Tips, I guess.
Consider it. I will say the all month thing is all consuming. If I were going to do it, I will say, Kelly that was in here earlier, she does one, she does a homeschool through the holidays one, and she starts right before Thanksgiving and goes into December, and it's only like a 10 or 15 day type. I don't know what it is. It depends on how many people sign up. And so, people either can do it or not do it. And if they see a connection because your list are the kinds of people that they would like, they may be willing to write a blog post like that. It is, I mean, and it will take time. You do need a system in place, I think. Like I have a challenge that goes up on day one, and it's a 30-day Thanksgiving challenge, basically. And that's the number one lead magnet that I advertise all month long. And people like it because everything in the whole month is gratitude. Um, and they do have to write about a certain topic, but I go for it. Pick whatever the topic is that you want and just see what happens. You can get in, we've opened up Homeschool Blogger Network now, and you can, make one post about whatever it is, and then you just keep, leaving comments and trying to get people to sign up. The biggest thing, and you would be able to do this because you're a planner person, is just be organized about the whole thing.
Okay. Thank you.
So, Michelle?
All right, got to get off of mute. Okay, back a few minutes ago, you were talking about Zoom and all the things that you could do by using Zoom as your platform. You said that you follow up with those that were in the webinar. Okay, the only way that I know that I can get emails from the ones that actually were in it was if I send them to Zoom to actually sign up. Otherwise, you don't know who they were.
Well, I will say this, you're right, but I take their name and then I go look at my email list of everyone that signed up because they're in Aweber, and I sort of compare. So if their name's Angela and only one Angela shows up, I just take the chance that that's the same Angela that was in my class.
Okay, so you actually just take the time to compare, because sometimes, like I've had ones where they're using their husband's name, or they're using their son's name, or they put GT or whatever instead of their real name. So yeah.
I will say that happens. It just hasn't happened enough to not pursue it. And the thing is, if someone's made 10 comments during your master class, and especially the ones that are asking questions at the end about your product, those are the ones, if they don't sign up that day, I want to follow up with them and find out what they're thinking about. And I'm not trying to push this on them. This is something about selling issues. I say these words. I want to find out if this is a good fit for you and it will help you in your homeschool. Because you don't, if it is, and there are people I've said, you know what, this probably isn't the right time. It may not be the best thing for you to invest in right now. So I'm not trying to just push it down their throat, but there are people, and the number one objection I probably get is money. And it's a real objection, but that's why I have a payment plan that's like $29 a month, and they can pay it out they will have already gotten the whole course before they finish paying it out. So there are things you can do to take away that objection, but sometimes that's better explained in a one-on-one conversation.
Okay, and this is kind of related, but not, and I'm not sure where that actually would be the right time to ask, but do you see that Facebook Lives or recorded when you've done them on, or like even Instagram Lives or Instagram recorded? Do you see a difference in one or the other?
I don't have an answer for you. One, because I just haven't gone live as much in Facebook as I used to. I'm mostly just putting up the recordings with my podcast.
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't see a difference myself, but I just wondered if you're like, oh yes, if you just give it time, you'll find out that,
I mean, supposedly Facebook loves lives and they're going to push it up in the feed, but I haven't really tested that to have an answer for you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so use your notebook, pick the one thing you want to do, And even if you haven't finished whatever you were working on, I would strongly encourage you to at least take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and make a list of the joint venture partner possibilities of whoever. You don't have to get all their information, but at least jot it down or open a Google Doc and figure that all out. At least it gets you started. Then I would really encourage you to draft an email of whatever it is you want to joint venture with them. So, okay, I got 3:15. Let's show back up here around 3:45 my time.
What's going to be next? Is the next thing the last thing?
If there's no more of teaching, we're going to finish up with some Q&A and just wrap it all up. We
Okay,
should finish by 4.
I may have to leave before it ends, so I was just wondering what I was going to miss.
Well, and you'll still, if I'll record it and put it in your members area. And the processing is taking way longer. Like, okay, I'm gonna go up and see if last time's was
Okay,
finished,
so
but I
back,
am gonna shut this down.
what time? Back at 3:45?
3:45.
Well, isn't it 3:15 at where you are right now?
Yes,
What
so
time?
30 minutes.
So that would be 3:45, right? Okay,
All right, see y'all in a minute.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.